Yo, CTM Sports in the house. Just got back in town, so excuse the no shave week. I ain't even cut my hair. I got to cut my hair too. Um, so we're finna get right into it. Is Joy Taylor pretty privileged, losing value, or about to expire? Allegedly, Club Shay Shay had to pay. And is Cam Newton going Carl Thomas? She going emotional on us? Let me know in the comments. Let's get right into it. So, according to reports, Joy Taylor contract was up. They did not renew the contract or the TV shows. And they're saying she's out at Fox. She's a free agent. Let me know in the comments. Do you think it was because of the lawsuit? They said the ratings were low. They wasn't getting the ratings. Do you think it was a PR hit she took by being in the lawsuit, even though she wasn't being sued, but she was a part of the lawsuit? And they just wanted to clean house? Anybody involved in that lawsuit, they just cleaned house? Let me know in the comments what you think. But here's my take on things you have to be careful about. One thing is, we talked about this on the podcast. Make sure to check that out. Thinking Game Podcast. I think we might be recording tomorrow. But one thing we talked about was pretty privilege. Could go for either man or woman. Some men, people give them high favor. Women, they get high favor. But at some point, the favor won't be the same or won't have the same impact as you initially had. It ages out. The pretty privilege will age out. The highly favored male, you will eventually age out. You won't be a supermodel forever. You won't be the commodity forever because turnover, because of attrition, because of age, because of life. Throw some names out there for you. Holly Berry. Do you hear dudes talking about her anymore? Janet Jackson. You hear dudes talking about her anymore? At one point, she had control. Now, not so much. She lost control. Holly Berry probably was in a lot of dudes' top 5. Now what? Bottom 30? What would you rank her down? If you're single, I know I'm married. I'm out the game, so I don't even do that anymore. But I'm saying, as far as life go, when you go around and you take advantage of situations based on your privilege or your favor, what happens if it all falls or goes sour and you try to use that same card, but the card don't have the same value that it had when you initially first started? It does happen. Like I say, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that her pretty privilege is starting to lose value? Well, some dudes think she's just a commodity, according to a lot of people online and probably people that probably follow, I guess. But let me know in the comments. Another one is, does she has to be careful of burning out too fast in Hollywood, on TV, in sports, entertainment? Nothing lasts forever, but you can have a maintained success without burning out too fast. But you got to be careful about how you present, decisions that you make, and the PR that comes out when you're in that world, from what I'm seeing, outside looking in. You got to understand, though, nothing lasts forever. Me and wife were driving back home from Maryland today, and was listening to a podcast. This guy was talking about finances, and he said that Sears, nobody would have thought that Sears would have ever closed down because they was the hottest thing at one point. They was Amazon before Amazon. And what happened? The business slowly plummeted. They lasted about 100 years, but nothing lasts forever. That's what you got to understand and be careful about and make the best out of the time that you have. When you have the privilege, when you have the favor, and when you're on top, you have to make the best of that time. And it's hard for us to say on the outside looking in what we would have done or what we would have did because we wasn't in that situation. But what I will say is it's a learning opportunity for anybody who wants to do that or go into their field. There are many options, there are many ways, but every way has a piper at the end that you got to pay or a toll that you're going to have to pay. And you have to ask yourself, am I willing to pay the toll at the end of this road that I'm going down? And if you say, yeah, hey, go down the road, but just understand there is a toll at the end of every road. Don't just do it blindly. Understand what could be the cost or the risk associated by going down a certain road. So, our next one is Club Shay Shay allegedly got a pay. Allegedly, he got a payout. The girl said she retiring from OnlyFans. So the question is, why do celebrities settle cases? As a guy who's studying to try to go take the LSAT and go to law school, I have to read about these things a lot. Even watch shout out to the lead attorney. I like listening to him. He breaks down stuff from a legal standpoint, and I like his commentary. So, in my opinion, the reason why celebrities settle cases is it's not about being guilty. It's not about if he's innocent. It's about the PR hit that you take when these things come out. You can be innocent, but you can be dirty at the same time or tainted because of the facts that come out about things that you were doing. Dog collars and all kind of colorful things. It's a whole nother world out there, guys, that we don't even touch. We probably not even privy to because we not making that kind of money. We're not in that world. But they are. And one thing a person try to do is keep their personal life personal and try to minimize the PR hit that they'll take if these things come out. And in my opinion, he settled this case to keep a lot of those things from coming out. Matter of fact, if you think the stuff that you heard was crazy, imagine what he said, why he settled the case. Imagine that. Imagine the things that she signed to not talk about now because the case is settled. Imagine what she has to hold on to, even though she got paid, but she can't say anything about it because if she do, she'll break the agreement. She'll lose the money. But he had to settle the case so he can try to recover and get to different bags. Because when you get a civil case or anything of that nature and it hits the news, it smears everywhere. He tried to fight it without question. He had to step down from different positions, but it still left a mark that he's going to have to overcome, which he can. Over time, he'll overcome this if he can stay away from it and don't have it pop up again, which he probably will. I'm pretty sure he'll safeguard himself. He can overcome that. But when you settle a case, it's not about if you're guilty or innocent. It's about getting rid of the problem before it turns to being innocent or guilty. Getting rid of the problem before it turns into a PR mess and nobody wants to sponsor you, nobody wants to get behind you, pause, or nobody wants to give you advertisements because of the PR hit they'll take. Because there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't know that probably was happening. Emails to companies and protests and all these little things that people do. And they don't even know all the facts. They just know what they hear. But imagine if you heard the facts. So in my opinion, that's why he settled the case. He trying to get rid of the PR nightmare that was, it was already happening, but he was trying to keep it from getting too big where to get out of control. In my opinion. And in my opinion, that what I'm seeing, from what I've seen across the news, I don't know the whole inside facts, I think she shot high and settled for the number that they wanted. Some people saying 30 million, so she can pay the lawyer 13, she get like 20 something. Some people saying 10, who knows? But it was some millions because she said that she retired from OnlyFans. To me, that was taking a shot at Shannon because she was saying, I got paid so much, I'm retiring from OnlyFans. Without directly saying it. It was subliminal, in my opinion. So with that being said, the question that I have is, will this affect how men interact with women in the future? Especially famous men with money. I think if we did a pool of famous men with money, 100%, I think 40% probably will safeguard themselves with NDAs and whatever else they could use. And then the other 60 won't believe it won't happen to them until it happens. Why do I say that? Because we're seeing it in real time. It's like a 60-40 kind of deal. Why he didn't safeguard himself or why, I don't know. But it cost him millions. When you playing with that kind of money, everybody has different motives. And you have to be careful about who you're dealing with. You got to be able to discern. Sometimes it happens so fast. Some people say they didn't know. But guess what? He's still held accountable for, even if he didn't know that she would do this, he's still being held accountable because she did do it. And the sad part is, from a learning perspective, he been in the game longer than all of us have. He's 50-some years old. He been around the world. So, with that being said, I'm wondering, what was done that he didn't see what she was doing. Because sometimes you get caught in the moment. You're not thinking clear. Things are happening. She's trying to demand things.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
You say no. She gets mad. Out of spite. Throw a case at you. Now you got to pay millions. Hopefully, it didn't affect your career reputation too bad. And he can move on from this. I just hope he make good decisions going forward, because I think a lot of men are starting to see that women will bait you in, and you can cross the line and don't even know it. Next thing you know, you're in court. Because it went from assault and raped to a tumultuous and consensual relationship. Just telling you what was said. A lot of wordplay between lawyers. That's what was released. They both can walk away and move on from it. And I hope that he has greatly learned from this situation and will protect himself going forward and prevent something like this from happening again. That's it. Because sometimes it happens. It happens so fast. That's why you have to slow down and think. That's why we got the Thinking Game podcast. Make sure to check that out. Because if you don't think, this is what's going to happen. So, Cam Newton. Cam Newton sensitive for not being on the top 10 list. Let me know what you think. Is he sensitive by somebody putting Jalen Hurts on there but not him? Let me know in the comments. Is Cam Newton better than Jalen Hurts? Man for man. If you had to pick a quarterback to run your team off of, would you pick Jalen Hurts or would you pick Cam Newton? Some people would say Cam Newton just off of the physical specimen that he was at quarterback. Some people would pick Jalen Hurts because they're an Eagles fan and he won a Super Bowl already. But if you just had both of those guys, you had to pick one, who would you pick? Let me know in the comments. Who would you pick? So, the if game. Comparing perspectives when grading another person is dangerous. Cam's perspective, what he did for the Panthers is totally different than what Jalen Hurts is doing with the Eagles. And I understand Cam's point. He had better talent with the Eagles, or Jalen Hurts did, better talent. They put more talent around him, better defense. And he didn't carry the team per se like Cam did. But the question is it Jalen Hurts' fault that the Eagles said, let us put talent around this guy so he can win a Super Bowl, give him the best chance to win a Super Bowl? And it's unfortunate because a lot of times players like Cam that are so great, but they go to teams that are not great. They go to teams that don't care about winning the Super Bowl. They just care about selling season tickets, winning games, and making profit. Because they know they're not going to put the money into the team to win the Super Bowl. Even though Cam was that good, he willed that team to the Super Bowl. They didn't have enough on the offensive line to stop DeMarcus Ware. What's my other guy name? And the other linebacker that won a Super Bowl was sacking Cam. Von Miller. That's his name, Von Miller. DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. They didn't have the offensive line to stop those guys. However, the if game. if I had this, if I had that. I would be willing to say if you was to put Cam Newton on that team that Jalen Hurts has now, like the prime Cam, the MVP Cam, I'm pretty sure he would have won a Super Bowl. But he didn't. And it's unfortunate because there are a lot of great players who played for teams that wasn't so great. And it affected their career. Unfortunately, it's just how the game go. We think about Brian Urlacher, great linebacker. Man made the cover 2 great, but he played for the Chicago Bears. They did not invest in a quarterback. Rex Grossman was good, but he wasn't that good. Not enough to beat Peyton Manning. There are a ton of players who were great, but they just couldn't put it together with the team. However, in life or in sports, you have to be careful about comparing perspectives. Cam's perspective was he had to carry the team on his back, and he really basically did just that. Jalen Hurts' perspective, he could do whatever he needs to do to win the game because he has the weapons around him. A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, the defense, all those things, great offensive line. He did what he needed to do to win the game. He didn't have to carry the team. He could pass. They could run. They invested in a balanced, well-machine team. Cam was the whole offense. And do I think Cam could have done some things better? You bet your butt he could have. But if I was him, I wouldn't trip about being in somebody's top 10. I know it's hard for athletes not to be sensitive because when you start ranking and stuff, it get touchy real quick. But man, I'm telling you, if anybody didn't grow up in that era, Cam was a beast. He just didn't have a complete team around him at any one time when he was a beast. If he would have had a complete team when he won the MVP that year, and I think he went to the Super Bowl and played Denver, I think they would have beat Denver hands down. But I'm telling you, Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, and I think that's running a 3-4 or 4-3, one of them. But you got both of those guys rushing out the ends. You don't got no receivers to throw it to. They're not getting open. Every time he dropped back, one of those guys coming at him to knock his helmet off. What do you do in that situation? And then the sad part is they didn't continue to build around Cam Newton, and they never made it back to a Super Bowl again. That's the tough part about sports. The if game is crazy. What if? What if this, if that, if I had this, if I had that. But you got to be careful about that because playing the if game can take you to a negative place that you might not come back from. It may take a while. That's why I don't get caught up in it. I don't compare myself to others. Working in IT, I don't compare myself to other people. I just work on getting better each day. I want to be a better Mike each day. So with that being said, thanks for those who come back and watch the podcast. Thinking Game Podcast on Mondays. CTM Podcast throughout the week. Just got back from Maryland. 15-hour drive. Might do a review on Maryland sometime this week. Got to get all my videos and pictures together. But thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. CTM Sports, I'm signing out.